Hi. So I was just noticing this is video 231 on this fictional island rebuild on 3-1, which could also be thought of as 31. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, yeah, so I didn't get much of my story done in like a sentence here and a sentence there yesterday because I was trying to fill in my storage on Dreamlight Valley. I took a bona fide day off, pretty much. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I started in on the project and I'm trying to make everything look the same, right? Well, small problem is that um, I ran out of Dreamlight to make the Scarlet Kale um, chests bigger. So, like if it was on Minecraft, because this is on Dreamlight Valley that I'm talking about. If it was on Minecraft, right now they're a less than a single chest. I mean, let me look. Okay. So, right now, yeah. Take off that bottom row, and that's what it is. So, that's what it is right now. And, um, I wanted to make enough Dreamlight to make it all a full double chest, you know? Actually, it might be bigger than a double chest. Let's check. Two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, it is, because I think it's 8. But this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the double chest on, basically double chest on Dreamlight Valley, I think only has 8. But, yeah, I've been playing this long and I can't just quote it straight up. Oh well. So, I found out that the chapter that I really, 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 really wanted to work on is coming up soon. I found out, okay, well, Word has its own program on my phone, and I opened that up and it had no problems. So I'm hoping it's not an online only thing. Because if I can read that, like if we have to go out and I can read that, then, um, then it would be a lot better. Um, like say we're going to Reno for some reason, and I can read that while I'm out, then when I get back to my computer, I can be more, um, you know, more aware of what's going on in the chapter and get it done easier rather than going into it not remembering what happened and um and having to, like, I don't know, it's just harder for me. I can't explain it very well, but it's just a little harder. But if I read it first, it's a little easier because then I know what's going on, and like I keep saying, um, you know, they said it. I mean, Sean Connery said it first. I wrote it down so I didn't have to remember. Um, he was playing Indiana Jones's dad in The Last Crusade, and and Indy's like, "Can't you remember?" And he's like, "I wrote it down so I didn't have to remember." There's this other scene where um I don't it has nothing to do with it, but this other scene where Indy found some uh found he was out on a field trip with his Boy Scout troop or whatever they call them, and Junior Explorers or whatever it was, and he found um people doing bad things. His big thing is it belongs in a museum. Well, they just wanted to steal it so they could sell it to somebody who'd give them more money. You know, or somebody who would give them money. um, or keep it in their own collection. So, he was trying to do the right thing, go home, tell a grown up, his dad. Only his dad is so busy doing whatever the heck he's doing that he tells Indy to count to 10 and come in, or I think it was 10, and come in and do it again. Um, you know, not so excitable. And then he goes, "Well, I hope that's okay." Somebody just went like, "Ah." I don't know if they were like singing musical notes or if they were like, "I just kicked the coffee table, ouch," or what. So, but it was definitely a neighbor. Um, but then he goes in Arabic or something like that, and so he's, you know, speaking whatever language he actually got told, because I don't think Arabic was it. But and if it was, I apologize. Um, but yeah. Anyway, but he does that, and then his friend, who, if they were gonna do a movie of Lord of the Flies again, he probably would have been perfect for Piggy, unfortunately. But hopefully the actor slimmed down. But anyway, the local authorities had been um, grabbed, and the friend was with them, and it turns out that the local authorities were there because the bad guys said that Indy stole their whatever it was. And so years later, he goes and tries to steal it again, but doesn't work. Or, steal whatever they were trying to, um, whatever they were trying to grab again. Anyway, and that just reminded me. Okay, Louis Anderson. Pretty sure that's what his name was. Louis Anderson was on an episode of Dash Bridges. But the thing is that he had his own cartoon show, I think, at some point, and we used to watch it. But he was on something else that we were watching, and he always plays a nice person. But in that episode of Nash Bridges, he plays the nasty neighbor. The neighbor that's always complaining and um always complaining and has bully children and stuff like that. I don't know why they did that. Maybe to show that he's not always happy-go-lucky. I don't know. But I was just remembering that when I was telling the other story. So, yeah. So the part of the story that I haven't bothered to finish with, because, like I said, I ended up taking a day off. I was gonna get to the end of what I was doing and then put it up. And then I was like, well, I just need to finish the storage thing. And then I went and planted all of the problem became that did finish all the storage stuff. And I could have, I could have ended it there, but I didn't. I went and started planting all of the seeds that I had because they were kind of in my way. And then I had to buy one more because somehow I didn't plant one in that spot, and out of all those seeds that I had a lot. It ended up that I needed one more. So I bought a beetroot seed and put that in. But the part of the story that I'm at right now is that Sam Crenshaw is gonna take Ashley out on a date, and I can't remember if this is the date when Sean follows or not, but they get to the entrance of Ashley's cave, and Sean doesn't think there's anything back there, so he just gives up. Which so doesn't sound like Sean, but still, he gives up. He gets over, he actually walks over there, and he's like, they just disappeared. I think this has to be the date where he follows them, and because the other one Sam knows where Ashley is, and he should have told Morgan. But anyway, Sam knows where Ashley is, and Katie should have thought about that too. But I didn't want to make it that easy, so they're gonna go out on a date. Yay! Anyway, they're gonna go out on a date to see the stars, but like go to her cave because it's safer. You don't want to have to be dealing with the enemy pirates while you're out on a date. So okay, so I don't actually know how long we're going to do this today. Because I do need to work on my story. I'm going to get hungry eventually. Stuff like that. But but I do want to do something with it. Because, that island needs to go. The one that we were working on yesterday and just a little bit ago. We'll get back to it in a little bit here. Because the idea is that it looks like an ocean where you can't see the bottom. You can't see the whales swimming in there until they surface and stuff like that, And you don't have to worry about me because I've got it on... you don't have to worry about my character because I've got it on creative mode. I always play on creative mode. I don't like playing on the other mode because then you gotta use the materials you can find out in the world, and you can't necessarily build anything out of bedrock, So I don't know if you can, if you can break bedrock in survival, but... Oh! What? It specifically said, it asked me if I wanted to, allow or deny the message, and I read it, and I'm like, oh, stream boo? No. They really need to shut that down. Twitch and YouTube, they really need to get together and shut down Streamboo because that's not fair. What if I don't think some of my favorite YouTubers would use it, but what if a very popular YouTuber had used Streamboo instead of just waiting for it to happen, you know? Like, what if they bought like 500 of their followers right away, or 1,000 or something like that, and then so everybody thought they were popular, so everybody thought, started watching them and did think that they were good, and that's how they did it. I'm trying to, I've been at this streaming thing for ever, it seems like. I started recording what I was doing and putting it on YouTube back in like 2017, 2018, something like that. That was back when, when I first started, it was back, it was just the capture thing on the Xbox. Capture this moment in time. And so I'd post those, and it didn't take very long. And, I think people liked them. I'm not entirely sure, because I don't think I had as much of a following then. But, yeah, there we go. Okay. Anyway, I didn't have as much of a following then. I had a lot less people watching me. Then, I started streaming on Twitch in January 2024, and all of a sudden it's like I've got 536 people, and it's pretty awesome. Actually, it's really awesome. That's just on YouTube, though. See if you can do this and not get hurt by that thing. You can breathe underwater. I think if it still exists, I still need the breathe underwater. I still need the breathe underwater, and I think I still need the no, I got the explore all the biomes, and I don't know how I did it, but I was happy. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff I need. On a previous Xbox, I tamed the 5 wolves. Oh, that's another one I need. I need to find and make friends with 20 cats. How come that couldn't have been, how come that couldn't have been, hey! Oh. How come that couldn't have been 5? If it would have been 5, then on a survival world, all I need is like 1 more or 2 more or something like that. I was afraid to go away from where I was, and I think I ended up deleting that world. I'm not sure, but I was like super afraid to go away from where I was, and since it's survival, you can't just go and put down a bunch of rails until you make them. Well, anyway, the idea over here is that I um, take out enough of this land that a ship could go through. And I'm talking the number 3, not the number 1 or the number 2. I'm talking about the number 3. I mean, they all have to be able to go through there, but if the number 3 can do it, then the number 2 and the number 1 can do it, no problem. The ship is called the Rolling Sea. That's why the series is called the Rolling Sea. And they had to have 3 ships because at one point, I don't anymore, and I have no idea what people's names were. But I had a 600 and some odd people crew. And for some reason, I can only figure out 2 to 400 something. So technically, I don't need as big of a ship as I had before, but you know, it'll get figured out. Because I think what happened was that certain people got together and, they eventually get married. But, they got together and started having kids. And then the other couple got together and started having kids. And, like I said, eventually got married. And then all the other people, and they had kids and they got married. And so there's I think 52 couples. Yeah, there's 52 couples of the second generation crew, and then they all have 2 to 4 kids. Well, in most cases, 2 to 4 kids. And well, Jonah and his wife are having 6. And I think so far, Natalie and Romeo have only had 2 kids, but I'm pretty sure at one point they had way more than that. And that's the problem with putting your stuff on computer and not writing it down as well, is that you lose that information and then you're like, what the heck happened? I don't know what I came up with. And yeah. So hopefully that won't happen again. I need to put a backup on an external hard drive and then unplug it from the computer, so then when I inevitably need it, it'll be there. Anyway. Oh, so it's 9:02. And I wanted to end this. But the island's not gone. So let's go until the island is gone. Shouldn't take too much longer. And then we'll be giving myself claustrophobia Oh, excuse me. Then we'll be giving myself claustrophobia from being underwater too long. But there's some days when I'm perfectly fine being underwater like that in Minecraft. And then there's other days when I'm like, oh, heck no. So, this is the cliff for the ships. And we put a cave doorway over here so you can get into the garage the hard way. So far there's no stairs or anything, there's just that elevator. I will work on stairs at some point in time. And notice it's all made out of bedrock. It's nice. It's solid. I need to take out more of this so I can build the number 2. This is the number 1, and it's a little smaller than it was before. Somehow. I built it exactly the way it's supposed to be, but somehow it's smaller. Oh, because that's water. Duh. Okay. Anyway, so this is the around the corner from that. And there will be an island. And it's either going to be a floating island, not really, but, not have anything underneath it, or it's going to be very, very, very solid underneath there. And it's going to be, that circle I can make. It's not my circle. Somebody else made the circle, but I learned how to make it, and I like it, so that's the circle I use. Sometimes I need a bigger circle or a smaller circle, but I can't do that, so I don't know how to make it larger or smaller. There. That's annoying. Because, like I said, all of this is underneath the water, and I can't tell where I'm going. Oh! Oh. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, so Speechlo has a little picture next to each one of their voices, so you can tell what the character looks like. And some of the characters look really cute, and you're like, oh, I want to use that voice, and then you listen to it and it's like, oh, no, I don't think I want to use that voice. Or, or you're looking at the voice going, what does that actually look like? You put your glasses on, and you still can't tell. um, the voice I use for Ashley is named Jessica, and her picture isn't the best picture in the world. You know, that's the picture where I'm looking at it going, what does she look like? Anyway, it's kind of annoying. But use that voice. I like it. I don't know, I just kind of think that maybe the computer messed up a little bit, or maybe they did that on purpose. I have no idea. But I was hoping that it would have enough voices that I'd have a whole cast and crew without ever using a different voice for somebody else. But it didn't work that way. I also hoped that it would be like it said it was, where you can sit there and press a button that says, this person's angry. Press a button that says, this person's sad. This person's surprised, you know? But it didn't have that. But it does a really good job of making it the way it's supposed to be. And this is not a paid advertisement, it's just, I like the program. So, I think we ought to end this so we can do something on Dreamlight Valley, and then it won't feel like I didn't do anything on it. Yeah, we might stay on here until 9:30, and then go and switch over to Dreamlight Valley. I'm trying to get some things done in Storybook Vale and a few other places. I think I need to go to the regular valley and buy seeds first, though. So then I can have those seeds in the Storybook Vale area, and yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I'll have those seeds in the Storybook Vale area, and I and then I'll be able to have the other seeds from the other places in Wish Blossom Ranch. Huh? Oh! I forgot about that. Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, I don't know how many spots I need. I have not gone back, just so everybody knows, I have not gone back and built any more of those, I think I just lost some things. Anyway, I haven't gone back and built any of those houses yet. Except for the one that I started out with. if anybody else has that problem. You know, where you're sitting there and then your nose feels very, uh, very full. And it shouldn't be, but it. Anyway, so you have to, take care of it. And yeah. Anyway. Anyway, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy a bunch of seeds and um, make sure I have all of those seeds um, in Storybook Vale or Eternity Isle. You know. Or my problem today has been that my eyes are suddenly watery all of a sudden. No, well, not water. It's thicker than watery, but yeah, it's just not good. Um, so anyway, not Sean and Sam. Sam and Ashley are gonna go out on a date to see some stars, and I think they're gonna go to her tunnel, but I'm not sure. Um, a date that's coming up is they're definitely in that tunnel. Anyway, I'm totally excited to see. To get to that part, and then there's another part coming up that I'm very happy about. Um, well, before that very happy part, there is a um, set of 3 chapters where Sean has a nightmare, and the first time he has a nightmare 3 times, and it gets worse and worse every time he has this same nightmare. Um, the first time it's pretty much normal. Uh, the ninja has been messing with his truck, slashing the tires, breaking windows, stuff like that. He catches her in the act and catches them in the act. And the ninja breaks out a baseball bat. Um, uh, clobbers him with it, in the stomach, and um, and I want to say, stabs him with her sword, with their sword, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But I think that's what happened because there was something about there was a he's feeling like a little bit of a pain in his chest, and it turns out that there's a spider on his nightstand, and he knows he got bit, so no big deal. Not like a super poisonous spider or anything like that, like a black widow, but just but he did get bit. So um, he kills the spider. Uh, I think he got a drink of water and went back to sleep. Well, then he has the dream again, and um, no, I want to say. Okay, wait a minute. I want to say there's more to it than that. Um, he, yeah, because they walked out of the movie theater, and he's on a date with Tracy, I think, and might have been Coral, but he's on a date with another girl, and her dad picks her up at the movie theater, and um and I got inspiration from the movie Sky High, where they're superhero kids, and they um they're superhero kids, and they are bleh, they're superhero kids, and he was gonna go on a date with this one girl, the girl of his dreams, and the problem is that she's the bad guy, but he doesn't know it at that point. But um, uh, he was either picking her up or dropping her off after the date, something like that. I haven't seen that in quite a long time. Um, but anyway, her dad is like, "You're not the kid with the 6 arms, are you?" And he goes, "No, no, no, no." And the poor guy is, I assume he had his superpowers at the time, but maybe not. Anyway, he starts out, he's a late bloomer. He starts out that he's a late bloomer. He doesn't have any powers, and he's supposed to be going to high school, Sky High, the high school that all of the um, offspring of the superheroes go to, and his dad keeps trying to get him to show powers, if I remember correctly, and he doesn't. He just doesn't. So he was going to be put in sidekick classes, and then all of a sudden he's doing something, and I think he fell out of this, like he fell out of the cafeteria window or something like that, and they're like, "Oh no!" And it turns out he can fly now. Anyway, it was a good movie. Okay, I'm having a problem here. Nope, even further out than that. Anyway, I'm gonna try to work on my story, work on my book, and catch up on some YouTube videos today. Because, the Don't Stop Meowing family had a new baby. And it says guess the baby's name. And I can't guess the baby's name. Um, I don't have any ideas. I mean, I've got a bunch of ideas of what I think the baby's name should be, but um, I'm not Arabic, and they are. So I just enjoy watching them because the cats and the kids and yeah. Sometimes their version of sense of humor, like pretend crying in front of my cats to see what their reaction would be. Yeah, Princess was like totally unfazed. She was like, "Why are you acting like?" She was totally looking at him like, "Why are you acting like that?" Not even like trying to pretend to be interested. She's like, "I'm on to you guys." Yeah. Okay, so I don't like that kind of stuff, or like pretending to hurt my cat to see what their reaction will be. And Chase, he likes to play along sometimes, and um, actually, he does that all the time. No, I think sometimes. Anyway, he'll play along, and he'll be like, acting like he got hurt. But other times, he's like, "Mom, I know what you're doing. Stop it." Yeah, you can totally tell that's like the look on his face. It was kind of funny though because Tash, when he was a baby, um he actually they did um the pretending to hit my kid's head on the wall. It was totally pretend. She was holding him, and then she goes in and kind of smacks her hand on the wall on purpose, and he started crying like he had really gotten hurt. I think it was just the loud noise bugged him, and it took him a moment. But anyway, so yeah, okay, we're gonna end this now. Um, well, in 5 minutes, but pretty much now. So I write books. They're available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook. I've got all of the paperbacks. I like paperback books. They weigh less and um, I think easier to read. And with me, uh, they don't get as old as fast, I guess. Um, but anyway, um, like I said, they come in hardback, paperback, and ebook. The hardbacks, I don't know why, but like one of them's $24, another one's $25, another one's $26, another one's $27, and I'm sure so that's okay. 24, 25, 26, 27. That's four books. So two you know, two of the other books are probably 25 or 26. And then the paperbacks, they I think one is 15 unless I changed it. But most of them are 20 and then most of the others are 20 and then the last one is 25. I mean and one of them is 25. So um with the ebooks though, they range from 299 to 305 to $5, I think. Um, anyway, and they are The Rolling Sea Begins Book 1, Pirate's Daughter, The Rolling Sea Begins Book 2, Misfortune, The Rolling Sea Begins Book 3, Hard Times, and coming eventually, Finding Love and Missionary. I was gonna put The Missionary, and then I just decided I didn't like it. So, Finding Love introduces Jake to the story. Well, Jake actually gets introduced in, um, Pirate's Daughter and Misfortune, but, uh, Finding Love is, I think he's in Hard Times also, but, but definitely in Finding Love, that's his story. So it starts out when he's 11 years old. His dad's got cancer, and well, his dad's been feeling off lately. Um, Maybe in pain. I have no idea what happens when you have cancer, and God willing, I will never find out. But um, but anyways, dad's got cancer, and he had to go live with his mom anyway. So because he was on his uncle's ship for the summer, and not his blood related uncle, the kind of uncle that's been in the family so long that you call him uncle, or in a lot of situations it's dad's best friend, or maybe it's Aunt Sandy, and that's because it's your mom's best friend, but they're not blood related. So, anyway. Anyway, um, so Finding Love goes from that terrible moment when they found out that he's got cancer and he's only got, so long to live, to where he's got the ship, or he gets the ship from his uncle, blood related this time. Um, he gets the ship from his uncle, not the same uncle who owns it. Um, because the first one is Uncle James. Well, Uncle James has a very beautiful daughter named Michelle, and of course Jake and Michelle fall in love, but they're not old enough to, uh, they're not old enough to keep each other because they were 11 and 10 at the time. He was 11 and she's 10. So, um, oh, I didn't think of that. No, no. She's older than him. So he's 11 and she's 12. Anyway, but she's got to be smart because she's learning algebra at that point. I didn't think of that. I think I thought she was older or something. But anyway, she's learning algebra, and this is a true life experience. I uh, had a algebra. I was doing my algebra homework, and I ended up having to look up the answer in the back of the book a lot of the time because algebra does not make sense to me. Um, but I looked in the back of the book. Okay, and um, in this case, I think the answer was 9. And they could find 6, they could find 7, 8, 10, 11, everything but 9. So, so her mom, Cheryl, is saying that she doesn't understand it either. She should give it up. And James is like, I don't like it either, but she's got to have it to pass high school. And I don't know why, because it's the stupidest math, in my opinion. It makes no sense. Why do you need letters to help you figure out numbers? Does not make any sense. I don't know who came up with this nonsense. And the thing is that, um, the thing is that I know that if I have $500 and I've got this many bills to pay, I know how to come up with the answer of how much needs to go to each bill. And, I mean, usually you cannot negotiate your bills, so. But, yeah, I know, okay, you take this bill and you subtract it from the 500. And then whatever's left over from that, you subtract the next bill and you subtract the next bill. And maybe you might have $10 left over when you're done. I know how to do that. I don't need letters to go with it. Um, I feel like essentially I am doing, quote, algebra, but, I really don't need letters to go with that. Saying, quote, algebra, because technically it's not algebra, it's just deductive reasoning, I guess. Um, um, oh, if you did not know, Sky High has Kurt Russell in it. Which I think is kind of funny because he, like, started his career in, um, like, he worked at, um, he's worked for Disney for a long time. He, like, started out his career in, I think, Disneyland. Actually, Kurt Russell was working on movies before that because he is the little kid that kicks Elvis. Um, Elvis told him to do it because, he's got to have a reason to visit the nurse. So, um, in the movie, it happened at the World's Fair. He felt he had to have a reason to go visit the nurse. And he's supposed to be taking this this little kid, I want to say a girl, around to all of the things because um not make I don't think it was because he wanted to. Maybe it was. Anyway, he's supposed to be taking the kid around, and at one point he let her eat too much sugar, cotton candy and all that stuff, and she ended up having a tummy ache. And I think that's when he met the nurse. And anyway, all I know is that he like borrowed the kid for the day, but he had Kurt Russell kick him. Kurt Russell was like 8 to 10 years old at the time, probably. Or he might have been older than that and playing an 8 to 10 year old. Anyway, so I told you the name of my books and I told you how much they cost, and please check them out. There will be 7 links in the description below, hopefully by the end of today because I didn't get it done yesterday. I will get it done. I just haven't done it yet. Because the idea is that I'm going to finish the chapter and then I'm going to do that project. Because they both need the copy and paste feature, and um, it's very annoying when I have to go and um, copy and paste the part of the story again. So actually, I could do that right now because I got it. I've got what I need copied and paste. What I need in the copy and paste set up and ready to go. Anyway, so if you're watching me on Twitch right now, please follow and chat. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and please get those valid public watch hours up. And as soon as I'm done with this row, we will see you in the next stream or video.